guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Rini and today we are going to experiment with a couple of techniques by which we will be transforming some glass vases / old wine bottles into ceramic, terracotta and stone looking vases. I used baking soda and coffee powder to achieve some of these textures and I cannot wait to share them with you guys. So before we get started, please subscribe if you haven't already and click that bell icon. That way you know every time I upload a new video on my channel. So let's get into the DIY. I'm going to take this wine bottle which I will be turning into a stripe pattern vase. I'm mixing up this beige and white acrylic paint and I'm going to give it 2 coats for full coverage. You want to make sure the first coat dried completely before applying the second coat. So this is how it is looking so far, and now I'm taking some rubber bands and putting them on the vase. I'm trying to make the line as straight as I could, and you want them to lay flat if you want an even line. I'm leaving a space about half to 1 centimeter between each rubber band. I'll continue putting the rubber bands till I reach around the neck of the bottle. The band was too large for the neck, so I'm tying a knot and then putting it around the neck. And again, you want to make sure it lies flat. Now I'm taking my white chalk paint and I'm going to paint over the entire vase. The paint was opaque enough to hide the beige paint underneath, but if you want, you can apply 2 coats. And once it dried down, I am going to remove all the rubber bands. Now the rubber bands peel some of the paint off, so let me know in the comment section below if you know how to avoid this. So I went back in with some white paint to fill in the areas where the paint chipped off. For the next DIY, I am going to take this glass vase. To paint it, I am taking a grey paint and I am going to mix some baking soda with it. Now I went for a clay-like consistency here. You can add more or less depending on the texture you want to go for. So I decided to add some black paint to make it look like concrete color. This baking soda and paint technique was inspired by the amazingly talented Geneva from collectivegen.com. After the first coat dried down, I am applying another layer to give it more texture. And you also want to paint the inner rim of the vase. Now that it is completely dry, which took a couple of hours, I'm taking some instant coffee powder and I will be adding a little water to it. So I'm not mixing the water. What I'm doing here is dipping my sponge brush, removing the excess water and gently applying the coffee powder water mix in a dabbing motion. I am making sure I am not adding too much of water to the sponge. If you want, you can also squeeze some water out of the sponge before dabbing it onto the vase. Here I am gently dabbing it and blending as I go. I'm also applying the mix onto the inner rim and around the rim of the vase. This is sort of looking like those expensive concrete vases, and I love the texture of the coffee powder on the vase. For our third project, I am taking another wine bottle. Then I'm taking my black chalk paint and mixing some baking soda. You want to stir it very well before applying the paint. Again, I will be applying 2 generous coats of paint and this is how it is looking after it dried down. Now I'm taking a chalk, holding it horizontally and I will be dragging it over the vase to get those chalk streaks. I'm not applying too much pressure. I am going as light-handed as possible. You can always go back and intensify it if you need to. Then I'll be smudging the streaks with my fingers to blur it. I'm going in both vertical and horizontal motion so that the chalk powder really gets into the textured surface that we achieved with the baking soda and paint. If you want to blur it further, you can take a paper towel and gently smudge the chalk streaks. I love how it turned to be like a stone-looking vase, and this technique is so easy and I am so impressed by the result we achieved. I'm taking this vase which I will be turning into a terracotta looking vase. I'm mixing up this terracotta and a bit of white paint and then adding some baking soda to thicken the paint. I will be applying 2 layers of paint, and after it dried down, I am mixing this melted chocolate paint to the terracotta paint. Then I'm wiping the excess paint and making sure there is only a slight amount of paint left on the brush, and I am gently tapping the brush all over the surface. If you look closely, terracotta vases are porous and they have this texture going on, so my goal is to imitate it here. And finally, our terracotta looking vase is complete, and I'm so happy how the tapping technique has added so much dimension to it. For our final project, I am taking this vase and my white chalk paint. And again, I am mixing some baking soda to the paint, stirring it well and applying it all over the vase. I let the first coat dry for an hour, and for the second coat I am applying the baking soda paint mix with a brush in a stippling motion. This will create more texture on the vase. And after the paint dried down completely, I am going to take some coffee powder, and first I will dip my paintbrush in water and I will be slightly dampening the surface. Then I'm taking the coffee powder, sprinkling it over the surface and gently scrubbing it in a circular motion. I'm going as light-handed as possible. You would not want to apply too much of pressure as it could peel off the paint. I'm also making sure the surface is dampened a bit before applying the coffee powder. So I'm blending the coffee powder with my fingers, and I will be repeating this process throughout the surface of the vase. You want to make sure there is not too much of water on the brush. I'm also applying the coffee powder on the inner rim to give it a finished look. I know this process is looking a bit messy, but trust me guys, I was totally impressed with the end result. After the coffee powder dried down, I'm going with a brush and dusting off the excess powder. I really hope you liked today's DIYs. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comment section below which technique was your favorite. I'm so happy with the way each of these pieces turned out, and each of them are unique in their own way. I would love your feedback on what kind of DIYs you'd like to see on my channel in the future. You can also follow me on Instagram at DustyHues, and I'll be seeing you guys on my next video.